Well, let me just start off by saying I've had to restart this commentary section for the last hour, I guess now. It's been so difficult to try and get what I'm thinking and put it into words. It's been really harsh. But I've decided just to try and freeball it. I do have some bullet points here that I will go to, but this is just a video for anybody that's kind of going through the same situation as what maybe I did. Maybe they're going through some kind of form of depression and they really don't know any kind of forms of advice or help or guidance, or maybe they just don't want to make that move. Or for me, certainly, it was definitely trying to get the courage to finally address the issue. And there's a few reasons why. Now, I'll just go into a brief history of myself. This is not in any way, shape or form a sob story. This is really just my story, my journey to where I am now, to the point where I'm able to talk about it so freely, in the form of maybe some advice, and hopefully maybe helps anybody that stumbles across this. I've done my fair share of searching YouTube for guidance and things like that. Some have been really helpful, some maybe not as helpful. This is maybe twofold. This is just to show you some decent gameplay of fighting some demons, as we talk about fighting demons in real life. So I thought it was quite good. Bonus points for that one, I guess, right? Yeah. So first of all, Diablo's coming out next week. I'm so pumped for this game. Actually, I'm so pumped for this game. I cannot wait. There's been so much content available through the server slams, and the devs are so in tune with the community so far, touch wood. I'm just really pumped for this game. So 9 days time, guys. I'll be playing a lot of this. But I just wanted to talk about fighting some real life demons in the form of depression, shall we say. Everybody suffers from it. I'm not going to sit here and obviously name the massive list. There's so many forms that you could talk about. It could be financial, it could be family, it could be not having family, it could be having no money, it could be no friends, anything. But I just wanted to tell my side of the story, and maybe my help might reflect your choices. Again, I'm no big influencer at all. Again, this is just a hobby. However, I did notice that some people were talking to me, reaching out in PSN. So I thought that was quite nice. So this is just a video that if anybody ever does decide that they're looking for help, or they're not really sure on how to go around it. So just a brief history. So I'm now 40 years old. I live in Scotland. I came from a family of 5, obviously mum and dad and 3 kids. I was a middle kid. I have a younger sister, and I had an older brother who sadly took his own life when I was around about 26 years old, sadly. He was a little bit older than me. I believe he was 31. He was married. He had his own kids as well. In fact, now his kids now have kids, so he would now be a granddad. So sadly he took his own life, which I guess was the staple of depression. I'm not going to go into massive details, but there was something that happened to me when I was a younger boy, about 12 or 13, which involved an older guy. Like I said, I'm not going to go into details. It wasn't anything super serious, but it was enough to remember it, shall we say? enough to be in your mind. But like I said, I just covered it up. I never really done anything about it. I just kind of kept it in my head, locked it up, and threw away the key, shall we say? So I kind of just living my life. After my brother died, it was extremely difficult. I actually have a daughter myself, who lives in England. Again, that's maybe another staple of depression, is because I'm not able to see my daughter as much as what I would love to. She moved to England when she was 3 years old. So since she was 3, I had to go down every year. Maybe my birthday, her birthday, Easter, Christmases, that kind of stuff. It was still a really good relationship, even though I wasn't living there, which was sad. However, now she's almost 18, and I mean, who wants to speak to their parents when they're 18 years old, right? Nobody, unless they want something, which I guess that's fine. I mean, I did the exact same thing to my mum and dad as well. So I guess that even though it was rough before, I guess my relationship with Ellie, especially now, is my daughter is much better. Um, and again, I'll tell you why, and it's because of the help that I've received and the choices that I've made, and hopefully these choices will reflect or maybe give you some kind of ideas on what maybe you can do. And like I said, your depression may be 10 times worse than mine, and there's no real scale of depression. If you don't feel well, you don't feel well. If you believe that you can feel better, then you believe you can feel better. Try and pursue that feeling. Yes, you might feel exhausted having to pursue it, or you might feel scared, or you might just feel like, you know what, it might not be that bad. I'll just keep it to myself, but that's not the answer. If you ever do feel depressed, or if you just don't feel yourself, then definitely try and do something about it. What I did for myself personally, and the reasons why I did stuff for me, I'll tell you. About 10 years ago, when I was 30, I decided just to keep myself to myself. I wasn't speaking to anybody. Sadly, my relationship with my daughter was to the point where I wasn't able to go and see her as much financially, so that, because she was younger, she didn't really understand, and maybe her mother wasn't as helpful, shall we say, in terms of explaining that to her. So when I was 30 years old, I decided, you know what, this is it. It's just going to be me. I have 2 cats, and it's just going to be me. I'll just turn into that crazy cat man. And you know what? In some kind of shape or form, I didn't go out as much. And when I did have to go out for food, I would always make sure it was dark. My favourite time of the year was October, because the hour would go back and it would be dark at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it would be perfect for me, just keeping myself to myself. I didn't care my appearance. I never went and got haircuts. I never really cared about anything physical, and that was for a good solid 10 years, where I put myself into that situation where I locked myself away to the point where I felt extremely anxious even talking to anybody, and it was really bad. But like I said, as soon as it was over, as soon as I closed that door, when I was in my own shell, I felt better, even though I wasn't better, I was closing myself off from the world, and any time that I did have to speak to somebody, I felt extremely anxious and stuttering and mumbling. It was very difficult for me. So I guess the reason I have to tell you that is because it's extremely important for why I decided to make the change. So I started talking to an old flame, shall I say, somebody that I knew from years ago, right around about the pandemic, where everybody was locked in. Started talking to my now fiance. We started talking during the pandemic. After the pandemic lifted, I moved down into her flat, and this is what I was trying to say. I was in a loving home with a fantastic fiance who I couldn't love anymore. I've got 2 fantastic little cats as well here with me. I'm warm. I've got a lovely PlayStation 5 where I'm able to record and edit this video and talk to you guys. And I thought, well, why aren't I happy? Why don't I feel good? I'm in this happy surroundings. Why don't I feel good? So that's why I decided to phone the doctor. I phoned the doctor, and then I didn't go to the appointment. And then I phoned the doctor again, and then I didn't go to that appointment. Long story short, I did this 3 or 4 or 5 times. And when I did actually eventually go to the doctor, I sat down and I just told her everything that I've just told you guys, but maybe in more details in terms of when I was younger, of when my daughter moved away, and when my brother died, and then when I decided just to lock the door and just basically shun the world. So yeah, I guess I needed help. The doctor listened to me. She gave me some tablets. They're called mirtazapine, and they worked. Well, they're working, shall I say. They are working to the point where I'm able to talk now about it. I'm able to explain my side of the story. And just to let you guys know that anybody that's found this video, if just by chance you found this video, you are important, you are unique, and you do matter. You really do. So take that first step. Contact your doctor, contact that loved one, contact that friend that you haven't spoken to. Do the things that you can control. Don't worry about the things you can't. Remember that you are special. Peace. Take care.